So welcome to UX Tech Road channel. I'm Michael, and that's the drone which is interesting today, the MJX X104G. Another rather toy grade drone with some photography capabilities. It does have an HD camera, GPS, some smart functions, and a lot that I'd like to tell you about. Unfortunately, in the last few weeks the weather was not so drone friendly. It finally is, so let me tell you about my experience. Okay, first of all, this is one of these drones which cost less than $100, but there are some variations with 2 or more batteries, which of course is going to bring the price a little bit higher. If you're new to the drones world, this is a toy-grade drone, and in my opinion, one of the best toy-grade drones, especially if we measure price and quality. MJX have gone a long way and are targeting the mainstream markets with this one. It's lightweight, rather safe for kids, smart as it has a GPS, and therefore return to home feature and the follow me modes, which are quite entertaining. There also is this little tiny full HD camera which has FPV capabilities, meaning real-time transmission to your smartphone app, with some limitations, especially in terms of range. Okay, some of you might be a little surprised by my next statement, but I do believe that this one is the best positioned drone by MJX after the Bucks 3. And let me justify my opinion. So if we take the second version, the B2 version, it's really great, don't get me wrong. I really like the B2W, the B2 SE and so on. Very powerful, very steady, with excellent range, good camera capabilities and stuff. But their price was right in between the toy grade drones and the DJI Spark. And if we compare DJI Spark to any of the Bucks, well, it transmits 1080p, it has 2-axis gimbal, and the third axis is stabilized through electronic image stabilization. It does have a brilliant smartphone app, a lot of smart features, optical avoidance sensors, and it costs a little bit more than the Bucks 2 SE. So I've always thought this 2 SE, the Bucks 3 Pro and stuff, they are sort of trapped in their own price range and not too attractive for most of the drone fans. And here comes this new guy, the 104G, which, I don't know, it does pretty much everything that the B2W can do, except that it doesn't have brushless motors and it doesn't have a large 7.4 battery. But it does have a well-performing 3.7 volt battery. It does have pretty good performance, dirt cheap to replace motors, and all the smart features that the other bigger brothers have, including GPS, return to home, follow me, and all that really stuff you can do from the app. If we take the Bucks 3 Pro, for instance, which costs about $150, and that without the camera, if we try to turn it into a more photography drone, meaning that trying to hook a GoPro Hero 7, that's still not going to give you the best results. If you try to add a gimbal, there's going to be a trouble, because 7.4 volts is simply not enough to lift a gimbal and an action camera and to be steady enough. So your only solution would be to use GoPro Hero 7 with the hyper smooth stabilization, or probably to take the new Osmo Action and try to get some good footage, but that still is not going to be the optimal solution. So here it is, toy grade, full HD camera, FPV over a smartphone app, rather good coverage, and here we talk about 200 to 300 meters of transmission, 2 speeds, slow and quick speed. Unfortunately, the flight time is not too great, but I'll tell you about more specs in just a few moments. Prior to that, there are a few things that are left to be done: unboxing, the feature walkthrough, and testing the flight performance. We're also going to check again the battery life and the camera. Just as usual, MJX are good at their packages, and this one comes in the style of the more expensive drones from the company. In my case, I got 2 batteries, the transmitter, smartphone holder, landing gear, and replacement props and tools. More than enough to provide good flying experience and capabilities for a basic repair work. There is of course a charger included. I have hoped to see an embedded microUSB on the batteries. Unfortunately, there is no such. Instead, you got another proprietary cable And this is one of my few remarks about the X104G. The drone seems to be well designed, made out of good material, unfortunately not at all premium feeling, but seems to be well shock resistant, especially knowing that it only needs to support around 180 grams, which is the weight of the drone. The motors are standard coreless motors, dirt cheap if you need to replace them, and should be quite durable, and are equipped with 145mm props, which contribute to the good stability. The maximum flying speed is 4 to 6 meters per second, which is not that much, but is enough for a toy-grade drone. Let's now check the flight performance, and I'm going to take the opportunity to make a quick guidance about this transmitter, which is, by the way, the same as the B3W, the B2SE, and everything which MJX released last year, with exception that you don't have a switch between acro mode and a normal mode. Acro mode, this gives you full manual control. It's not for everyone. So, 2 dummy buttons at the back, antennas, which I hope are real antennas, but I need to disassemble it in order to make sure. And the buttons on the front, so that's the GPS on and off switch. Over here, ascending, descending, and going left and right to the position. That's about automatic take off and landing. This one is locking and starting the motors, the regular on and off switch, some trim controls, the low and the high speed switches. This is the return to home function, a button for taking a photo, or the long press is going to initiate the recording, and that's about going left, right, forwards and backwards. Controls, I would say, are pretty simple. In fact, you can automate most of your flights, and before taking off, do not forget to download the smartphone app, because it will maximize the positive emotions from the experience. Let me show you the most annoying part of all that. Before each flight, you gotta calibrate the drone. So you put on the battery, you put the drone to a flat level, and you wait for the beep from the transmitter. This was it. And now we start the calibration. So a few cycles like that. Right, then you point the nose upwards. A few cycles like that. And when you see the LEDs going red, you're pretty much done. And the next thing you could do is to put it on the ground and wait until you see a good number of GPS satellites acquired. In order to get a more precise flight, better wait for GPS signal. You will see when this is ready as soon as you can see the information on your transmitter. With GPS function, the hovering at a single point is much steadier. I had the pleasure to make a few flights with the drone, and it is wonderful. Good range, very good FPV signal, and the camera quality is above my expectations. The smartphone app is also intuitive and full of nice features. You can create waypoints. Honestly, I find this feature rather useless for non-photography drones. The Follow Me is quite a fun mode, and because it is not based on any fancy camera analysis, but on your position around the drone, it is very, very reliable when it works, because I had a few times issues with actually starting it. Unfortunately, it looks like sometimes creating waypoints and loading it and starting the Follow Me functions are a little problematic with this version of the app, and I had like 50% success. Like sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. I have to make a reboot if it doesn't work in order to make it work. So that was, probably the second issue I noticed with this drone. Let me show you some raw footage from the camera. Besides recording on your phone, there also is an SD card slot, and this will eliminate the possible minor drops that could occur if you record wirelessly. Also note that in order to see some picture, your phone's Wi-Fi needs to support 5G connectivity. I liked how stable the Wi-Fi connection is, as well as the GPS precision. Return to home from a distance of more than 100 meters did the job only with 50 centimeters difference, which is quite a good result. So at the end, some conclusion time. I'm generally a fan of MJX as a company, and that's why they are on my shortlist about reviewing drones, because you can see that I tend to do that more rarely nowadays. So I definitely had a lot of fun with the 104G. It's a good drone, a toy-grade drone, which is nothing fancy but does the job right. It has a camera, has some smart features, reliable GPS connection, and I love the FPV function. So probably in the range of about $100, this is the best toy grain device you can buy right now in 2019. Or if you have another kind of opinion, you know, the comments below the video, which is, by the way, the place where you can ask any kind of questions you might have in regard with this drone, and I'll stick around and help you as much as I can. That's been all about this episode. My name is Michael. I'm looking forward to see you in the next one. Cheers!